Let us pray. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earths. You have set your glory above the heavens. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them, mortals that you care for them? Yet you have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. You have given them dominion over the works of your hands and put all things under their feet, all sheep and oxen and beasts of the field. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. O Lord, be with us today and help us to live lives worthy of the wonder and glory of your creation. Amen.
Let's join together in singing God Bless America.
It's my pleasure to welcome our visitors and guests today on behalf of Rotary Club 2500, District 6110. It's not anymore, is it? Anyway, our host Rotarian today, Marianne Simpson, has as her guest Wendy Gregory. Right here. Linda Baker has Josh Jones. Brenda Melancon has Pam Stern. Marlene Livadeus has Lou Erickson here at the front. Linda Wilson has Lynette Potter. And Michael Willis has Emmanuel Arnold from Sri Lanka. Nice to have you with us. Greg Keck has John Mixa. That's all of our visitors. Let's give them a round of applause. And we have three visiting Rotarians from Tulsa Sunrise, Larry Byram, and also from Sunrise, V.J. Lively, and from Bixby, Wayne Cloisonnet. Good to have you with us. Come in again anytime.
Bob, that was wonderful. You were very eloquent. I did have a mini panic attack, but your voice said, calm me down. I do want to welcome again Emmanuel Arnold. He is visiting Tulsa County from Sri Lanka, Northern Province. And thank you for coming all the way here. He happens to be a lion, so he roars. But we are glad to have him here at Rotary. Our Rotary sponsor this week is John Esposito, Espo Fire and Water Restoration. And of course, we encourage you to do business with your fellow Rotarians. Please thank all of today's volunteers and our sponsors. Committee meetings today are really, really simple. It's the IBO Awards, room 232. On behalf of the club, I would like to extend condolences to Rotarian Eileen Bradshaw on the passing of her father, Richard Ryan, on May 6th. A private wake was held in celebration of his life. Please keep Eileen and her family in your prayers. And I encourage you to read the cover article of the May 2014 Rotarian magazine. There's a Tulsa connection. Our own Joni Stevenson's husband, David, his nonprofit, Engineers in Action, played a major role in the project to remove silver mine contaminants from the Jacucha River near Potosi, Bolivia. And congratulations to, and I want you guys to stand up, David Littlefield and Kirk Vanderslice on earning their blue badge with their attendance on the May 12th Board of Directors meeting. Great job and welcome to Rotary. And Kirk, I called him Josh several times during that welcome, and I'm just so glad that he's going to be a member of our club known as Kirk officially. It is a pleasure to inform you that the Board of Directors appointed Hannibal Johnson to fulfill the remainder of the Director at-Large term ending June 30th, 2015, filling an empty slot due to a resignation. So thank you, Hannibal, for serving. Phil Viles and Bob Goebel, please come to the podium to introduce our newest members. This is exciting. It is exciting.
You going first? You want me to? Go ahead. All right. Tom? I'm pleased to introduce Tom Gudgel to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. I've known Tom well over 20 years through church and law practice. He moved to Houston with a big oil company for a few years recently, but I'm glad to say he's back. He's looking for opportunities to use his knowledge and skill in consulting and in service to the oil and gas industry. Please help me welcome Tom Gudgel. There you are. Thank you.
Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce our newest member to Rotary Club, and that's David Oberle. David is the president and owner of a good golf company, and he and his family are planning to do a phenomenal development to Emerald Falls golf community. They're going to do a 5-star resort, which will, their market, they really plan to bring people in from a 600-mile radius around Tulsa. They will have all kinds of activities, indoor tennis, outdoor tennis, swimming, hiking, jogging, and medical facility. And it's really a big plus for Tulsa, and I'm very glad to introduce David to Rotary Club. And here's your pen, David.
Thank you.
And your full right here.
Thank you, Mr. Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
When you see those plans for the development Dave is planning, it's going to knock your socks off. It's pretty cool. Kathy, thank you for doing new member orientation. We appreciate it very much. Trey Walling, Mr. IBA Awards, come on down.
Thank you, President Karen, and most importantly, thank you for not photoshopping my head onto Kim Jong-un today. So, good afternoon, friends, fellow Rotarians, and guests. It is my pleasure today to introduce Lou Erickson. Lou is currently a Senior Vice President in the private bank at F&M, which was recently acquired by Prosperity Bank. Past chairman of the Tulsa chapter of the American Heart Association and chaired the Tulsa Go Red for Women. Northeast Oklahoma board member for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and is also on the Cystic Fibrosis Board. For the past 20 years, Lou has been a volunteer in the golfing community. Locally, she's worked on the 1994 PGA Championship and 2 tour championships at Southern Hills, as well as the 2001 U.S. Open, the 2007 PGA, the 2008 USGA Senior Women's Amateur, and the 2009 U.S. Amateur. Lou has also chaired the Oklahoma Girls Junior Championship for 5 years. Since 1993, she has served as a volunteer for the United States Golf Association, first as a member of the U.S. Girls Junior Committee, and in 2009, she was named to the USGA Women's Committee. The USGA, along with the R&A, is the governing body of golf and conducts 13 national championships, including the U.S. Open, the U.S. Senior Open, U.S. Women's Open, and all amateur championships. She's proud of the fact that Tulsa has hosted all but 5 of these championship tournaments. Her role with the USGA takes her to a number of national championships as a rules official, and specifically the women's championships. She has chaired the Senior Women's Am for 3 years and officiated at the past 5 U.S. Women's Open. Please help give a warm Rotary welcome to Ms. Lou Erickson.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure and honor to announce this year's Female IBA Award recipient will be Betsy King. Betsy spent 26 years playing on the LPGA Tour. She was elected to the LPGA and World Golf Hall of Fame in 1995. She won 34 tournaments, including 6 major championships, 2 Women's Opens back-to-back. Betsy played in 5 U.S. Solheim Cup teams and was a victorious team captain in 2007. She retired from the LPGA in August 2005, and in 2007, she founded Golf for Africa after a trip to Africa with World Vision. Throughout her life, she's been involved in a number of charities, including the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Habitat for Humanity, and World Vision. In 1994, she received the Charles Bartlett Award from the Golf Writers Association of America, being recognized for unselfish contributions to the betterment of society. And then in 2001, she was awarded the NCAA Silver Anniversary Award, which recognizes former student athletes who have distinguished themselves since competing collegiately. When I think of Betsy, I first think of wow. But there are 4 words that actually come to mind when I think of her: faith, determination, service, and winner. Betsy played golf at Furman University. In 1976, Furman University and Tulsa University went head-to-head in the national championship. Tulsa University, as many of us know, were very much favored as we had a standout golfer by the name of Nancy Lopez. But Furman won the national championship. They had Betsy King. Betsy went on to play on the tour the next year and was once again in the shadow of Nancy Lopez. It took Betsy 7 years to win. Then she won 30 times from 1984 to 1995. I just remember this so well. She would win and win and win. She won 20 times from 1987 to 1992, more times than any other man or woman at that time had won in a 5-year period. She was the first woman that reached the $5 million in career winnings. She was amazing. But foremost, and I actually reached out to a couple of my friends on the LPGA and got their thoughts too, it's Betsy's faith and determination that has helped her to stay the path, and these traits that have brought her to where she is today, helping the less fortunate and being a champion in life. Betsy is honored and humbled to receive this award, and she credits her faith in God and her parents' example in leading her to live a life that's centered for others. Now, please turn your attention to the screen for a short video.
Betsy King, LPGA Hall of Fame golfer and 2007 Solheim Cup captain, founded Golf for Africa after seeing firsthand the terrible plight of these orphan children in Rwanda in 2006. Working with World Vision and LPGA players, she started a campaign to raise $250,000 to support an initial project in Mudasamwa, Rwanda. Today, King continues the dream to raise support for AIDS orphans by linking the passion for golf to compassion for children.
What I saw in Africa was life-changing. I had never seen such poverty and suffering. I learned that the average African child eats just 5 meals a week and does not have access to clean water. I also learned that there are over 10 million children in sub-Saharan Africa that have been orphaned by AIDS. These AIDS orphans have to deal with their own survival every day. Where will they get food, water, shelter, or love? I wonder what I would do in that situation. It seems very unfair to be a child and have to face all those issues alone. This AIDS pandemic is the largest humanitarian crisis of our time. I played for 28 years on the LPGA Tour and have seen the generosity that exists within the golf community. I believe if golfers and fans of professional golf know and understand the crisis in Africa caused by AIDS, they will respond and address this problem.
Lou, thank you very much for joining us today. Wonderful job. And I want to encourage everyone to join us on June 16th. We do still have tables available, and I will tell you one thing. We have one more announcement we will be making, and the only word I can use to describe it is epic. Get your tickets now. Get your table now, because once this next announcement is made, they will be gone very, very quickly. I look forward to seeing everyone on June 16th. Thank you very much.
Okay, you've got me curious now. Thank you, Trey. And the message from Betsy King is going to be incredible. I mean, I can't wait to hear her speak. We have a few project announcements. David Peterson with MSNI with a special announcement.
As many of you know, the MSI network has a program that has ambassadors that support the function of shipping containers with hospital supplies all over the world. One of those ambassador ships each year is donated by the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and this year's recipient would be Dr. Tim Caldwell. Tim, if you'd come up. Let me say that I've been loading things and sorting things out many Saturdays at the MSNI warehouse. I've never been there that Dr. Tim wasn't there. And he's a better identifier of medical supplies than I am. Tim, congratulations. Thank you.
Go ahead. You want to take that photo? I'm Larry Byron. I'm the Director of Operations for the Medical Supply Network. And as most of you know, we've kicked off our annual fundraiser, which is our raffle for the Mercedes. And I want to recognize Greg Keck. I think he's here today. Greg and Jackie Cooper Imports have been big supporters of what we do each year. So next time you need a Mercedes, that's a guy to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Dr. Caldwell, congratulations, and thank you, Judge Peterson. And now Bob McKenzie, our Polio Plus rock star, is here with a volunteer opportunity.
I'm doing this for Hannibal, and so he said I better get it right. You know, our club always helps on the Tulsa Run and works the water stations and stuff, and so we cyclists would like to have you come out and support the Tour de Cure on May the 31st. And we have a lot of opportunities that you can do. You can work on the setup, help with registration. You can do cheerleading. You can help with the teardown. So on May the 31st, if you could come out, we're going to be at Southcrest Hospital. I don't think it's called that anymore, but that's where we start. And the reason I brought this jersey is that our team, Lucky and I are on the same team. We don't ride in the same position. He's way ahead of me. But Lucky and I are on the same team. And our team, this will be the third year that we've ridden in the Tour de Cure. And I think we've raised almost $4,000, our team has. So if you don't want to do any of these other items on the list, you can come out and you can push Lucky over so I can stay up with him. Or you can push me up a hill or something. But anyway, we do need your help. Please call the office to find out what you can do, or any other questions you have, you can see us. Thank you so much.
We really do need some more folks to sign up, but you can do the early morning, you know, just little 3-4 hour shifts, and then you go on with the rest of your day. So if you would, I think the Monday Morning Minute has some more details in it as well. So thank you, Bob. Appreciate that very much. And now Sarge Janet Rockefeller.
Hello. Okay, are you ready, Jerry? Hit it. Okay, once again, Norm is in the news. Thank you, President Karen, for sending that to me, but everybody saw it. Great guy, great company. So, Norm, you're just getting too much press. Although, IBA Awards has been getting a lot of press, too, so way to go, Trey. Okay, and then next we have Doug Collins. Happy birthday. He didn't, and he just wanted to give for his birthday, and I think that's lovely, so thank you, Doug, and great picture. Okay, Bill told Bill that I was going to mention that. He came to the office and gave $200 in honor of his late wife. Her birthday is May the 14th, so thank you, Bill. Okay, and Tom paid $57 for his birthday, and I hope you're here. Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk, way to go, because he paid $43 for me to say that. I can do that for $43.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Martin. Here we go, Martin. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, open the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10, pick that hen. That totals 55. You stir in 18, the age of final scotch, and there you have it. Making a fashion statement for 73 years, Martin Keating. That's all I have.
Thank you, Janet, and all who made contributions today. And now it's time for our Rotarian of the Day. Happens to be Lucky Lammons. Lucky joined our club in September 2010. He is president and CEO of the Foundation for Tulsa Public Schools. Many of you may remember Lucky for his 22 years in service as Tulsa police officer and frequent spokesperson for the TPD. And Lucky followed that with 4 terms as a state representative. And now, of course, he's at Tulsa Public Schools. He is always on the run, an avid cyclist, as you heard, and a proud Rotarian. Please welcome our Rotarian of the Day, Lucky Lammons.
Thank you, President Karen. It's my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Dan Scheidel. Dan is a 27-year Emmy Award-winning public broadcasting veteran who has managed and produced for public broadcasting stations in South Dakota, Missouri, Wyoming, and Oklahoma. He first began his career in public television in 1987 as a volunteer at South Dakota Public Broadcasting. He rose among the ranks to become the director of statewide productions and promotions. He then left South Dakota in 1995 and moved to Springfield, Missouri, where he became the vice president of productions, promotions, and government relations for the liaison for Ozarks Public Television. In 2001, he moved to Rivington, Wyoming, and became the general manager of the Wyoming Public Broadcasting Network. In May of 2006, Dan moved to Oklahoma and became the general manager of Rogers State University Public Television Station. After 6 successful years at RSU, Dan moved from Claremore to Oklahoma City and assumed the role of executive director of the OETA network. Besides being a Rotarian in Oklahoma City, Dan was a Rotarian in Wyoming, Missouri, and South Dakota. Please welcome our guest speaker today, Mr. Dan Scheidel.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with my brothers and sisters in Rotary, and just great cheers and glad tidings from the Oklahoma City Downtown Club. I just bring that with you, and we're looking forward to coming over and spending some time with you this coming year or next year. I can't remember what time of the year it is that we get together with the exchange, but we're looking forward to that. On your table, real quick, I just want to let you know there are some materials on your table. Please take them home with you so I don't have to drag them back to Oklahoma City. I'd appreciate that. There are some Downton Abbey things. There's some DVDs. One is on a documentary with Henry Bellman. Another, of course, is on the Cold War in Oklahoma. Do we have any Keeping Up Appearance? Anyone that loves Keeping Up Appearance? You got it. Okay. I've got DVD for you with Keeping Up Appearance. All right. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about OETA, the Oklahoma Educational Television Authority. We are a state agency. We're a lot of things to a lot of people, and we do so many different things, everything from news to public affairs to documentaries, historic preservation, online educational components for teachers across the state of Oklahoma. And we do so much more than that when you start looking at OETA. And of course, we are, if you haven't heard, the most watched public television network in America. Not because of Downton Abbey. We were the most watched public television network in America before Downton Abbey. So we must have been doing something right prior to Downton Abbey. That's just been great to have Downton Abbey. And if you haven't watched any of this phenomenal series, we'll be trying to hook you this fall, probably beginning in October, to lead up to season 5, which will actually be on the air in January, I think 3rd or 4th of 2015. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we proceed. But before I do, I'll just talk a little bit about us as a state network. We are the only statewide interconnected broadcast network in the state of Oklahoma. There's no other system like it in the state. There are 18 transmission sites throughout the state that covers the entire state. We reach all 77 counties. Our average viewing audience is 1.8 million on a weekly basis. That's a lot of eyeballs. And of course, when Downton Abbey's on, I'm guessing we push at least 2 million. So we know that at least 50% of you are watching OETA on a weekly basis, and that's something that we're very proud of. But we do have 18 different sites around the state. We have 4 primary transmission sites throughout the middle of the state: Oklahoma City, Eufaula, Cheyenne, and of course Tulsa. And we do have a studio here in Tulsa on the campuses of Oklahoma State University, and then we also have our primary offices and campus site. I call it campus, but it's studio in Oklahoma City. But we were created back in 1953 by the Oklahoma legislature. And prior to that, the Oklahoma legislature went to the Federal Communications Commission and petitioned them to set aside educational non-commercial licensees. 2 years later, fast forward, we were created. And today, we serve all of Oklahoma with 4 channels. We just put 2 additional channels on the air. So if you put up an antenna anywhere in the state, most anywhere in the state, 99.5% of the state, you'll receive 4 different channels. The primary channel of OETA, which is primary PBS content. The secondary channel is the Okla channel, which has a lot of Oklahoma content on it and some of the best of our PBS content. Then there's the Create channel, which is all about how-to, cooking shows, and a number of other gardening programs and other things like that. And then our final channel, the 4th channel, is a 24/7 kids channel. So now parents love that, and even grandparents. Being a grandfather and helping to raise my granddaughter, it's great because any time of the day or night when she wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning, we're able to have some trusted content that people love to watch on OETA. 89% of Oklahomans believe that we are the most trusted media source in the state. Not only are we number 1 as the most watched public television network in America, but the most trusted media source in Oklahoma. Now, this was based on a poll done by OU Polling just this last year. So it was great to see those numbers that were substantiated. We always knew that we had a great thing going here in Oklahoma, but this really helped substantiate it. Okay, again, we're not only just broadcast over the air, we're a communications backbone for the Warren system, which is an early warning system through FEMA, and this is through a national system, Emergency Broadcast Service, and Amber Alerts throughout the state. And we know that as a system, as a backbone system for emergency communications, we're not maybe the primary in a number of cases, but secondary. So it's a great system to have in place to help with those services. Largest classroom. Educational services is one of the key things about OETA that makes a difference in people's lives. Not only the children's programming is exceptional. We have the best in children's programming, and we're second to none. We're the most trusted, only second to, we're the most trusted in Oklahoma, but when you look at funding sources and state and federal dollars, most people see that as we're only second to military or defense spending as the best way of spending their tax dollars. So we're proud of that. But when we're thinking about educational tools in the classroom, we have more online content. I believe we're at 40,000 digital assets that are available to teachers through our OETA PBS Learning Service. We produce, of course, a number of content hours for everyone in the state, whether it's documentaries or news and public affairs. We have, of course, elections coming up, and we'll have election coverage that no one else can bring to the table. We also have a number of shows that we produce for the workforce and continuing educational learning. When you start looking at adult education, that's one of the areas that we're also starting to get more involved in when we start looking at GED and high school education and trying to address the dropout rate. Community engagement, we go again in regards to education, books in kids' hands. Those that are less fortunate, those that are at most risk, we want to make sure that they're ready to go to school, ready to learn, and that they're successful. And we can show the data that shows the impact that we have through our children's educational programs, books in the kids' hands, encouraging reading and literacy, and it's making a difference when the kids go to school so that teachers are ready to bring them on board and help them to learn and grow. One of the great things about OETA, we did a statewide project with Ken Burns, the Dust Bowl. Many of you seen the Dust Bowl? Anyone see the Dust Bowl? Great, a lot of you have. What was so exciting about that was when we had brought to the education component into the teachers. The teachers took a lot of teachers actually sent the kids home with some of the materials that we provided. And the kids went home to watch the Dust Bowl with mom and dad and grandpa and grandma and have conversations with them. And then the teachers asked them to come back to the classroom after watching the Dust Bowl, prepared to have conversations about what it meant in our history, Oklahoma history, what it means to them today and what it means to the future when we talk about the drought situations and the Dust Bowl. And talking about a learning moment. These kids were so excited because they spent time with their family, they watched this great program, it was very educational, they came back to school and they shared. It was just a great moment, and that's called proof of performance. And again, believe OETA, 85%, almost 86% believed in this poll that we are a much needed educational tool and source for Oklahomans. Oklahoma Storyteller. Again, history. When we talk about our history, who else is going to archive our history, tell our history, tell your story about your family. Talk about the number of documentaries that we produce on an annual basis. It well exceeds over 500 hours of content that we provide for Oklahomans. We have a lot of this online at oeta.tv, so if you missed some of the programs and you'd like to see them, go to our website and watch them. Last night we had Frontline that was on. I know we were up against the Thunder. Thunder up. That was a great game. But anyway, I'd have to say that we were up against the Thunder, but in intermission time, I was back to watching Frontline. It was a great show last night. If you missed it, you can watch that online at pbs.org. And again, we try to get more of our content out on multiple platforms, whether it's a tablet, whether it's your phone. There are a number of apps available through pbs.org, and OETA is working on making sure that we're engaging that next generation and helping them with educational content and engagement, and making sure that they're ready to take over leadership, that we're trying to help them in regards to civic engagement and have a better understanding of where they're going and try to help them along. Content and civic and cultural awareness. 92% believe that we need to tell the story, and we continue to do that. Now, news and public affairs. These are some of the programs that we have on in news and public affairs. ONR, of course, is the Oklahoma Night news report. It used to be nightly, and then we evidently lost a number of dollars through state appropriations, so we're not able to keep the staffing that you would need to have to do a nightly news cast. As you can imagine, it's very resource intensive. State Line, of course, documentaries about state issues, Oklahoma Forum, Capital Connection, talking to legislative leaders and our political leaders, the People's Business Call-In, Oklahoma Votes 2014, again, most trusted provider of news and information in the state. Documentary history, the Dust Bowl, as I mentioned, a conversation with Oklahoma War Stories and Back in Time. We are working on some things for the veterans and really focusing a lot of our energy over the next couple of years on recognizing our veterans, telling their stories, and focusing on our Vietnam vets. And Ken Burns actually will be producing a series about Vietnam. That'll be out, I believe, in 2016. This next year, or this fall, I believe it's the Roosevelts, and then Cancer, and then the Roosevelts, and then he has a number of other great shows in the pipeline. Movie Club, anybody watch the Movie Club? Yeah? Yeah, that's great. B.J. Wexler does a great job, and we're trying to get new films in, and that's always a challenge because of rights, broadcast rights, and how often you get them. And Gallery, of course, is Arts and Culture. On the Record is another one of our programs that we do that really focuses on our artists, our artisans and musicians and others in the arts and culture. Right now, we are receiving about $1 per person per year in the investment that the state makes in OETA. At one time, we were up at about 5.1 million, and it's been reduced to about 3.8. And just I think it was yesterday that the governor signed the sunset extension for OETA. We were scheduled for sunset this year, and July 1st, if the House, the Senate, and the governor would not have passed a sunset legislation to extend our sunset, we would have 1 year to deconstruct the entire network and do away with PBS in Oklahoma. Thank God that they pushed that ahead and allowed us to continue to exist for at least another 6 years. There was a little hiccup when the Senate actually put an amendment on the sunset legislation to ask me to develop a 3, a 5, and a 7-year plan to show how we could survive without state funding. Well, I have to figure out how we're going to make up that $4 million. So if you have any ideas, please see me afterwards. I would really appreciate it. But we'll keep working at it. Well, this is what the state actually is paying for it. It really does. The state invests in our really our salaries and benefits, and that really goes back into creating educational content and outreach specific for Oklahoma. Everything that I just showed you in regards to some of our Oklahoma content. And then the statewide communication system, as you can imagine, it costs us about $500,000 a year just for utilities for all these different sites throughout the state. It costs about $500,000 a year to bounce our signal out of Oklahoma City to all of the 17 other sites that basically repeats our signal over the air to viewers. And what's really interesting is you would think, well, nowadays with all this great technology, you've got broadband, you've got internet, you've got wireless, you've got dish, satellite, and you've got cable. Well, if you think about it, more and more people are snipping the cable and getting away from some of that. And a lot of the rural areas do not have access to broadband. So more and more of our audiences, if you think about over-the-air broadcast, I would say 25 to 30% of the audience in the state of Oklahoma are getting their signal over the air. And they're picking up anywhere between 30 and 40 channels from the different broadcasters, whether that's commercial broadcasters, public television. And we have 4 channels on the air, as I mentioned earlier. We used to have 2, and now we're at 4. We started out with 1. So we continue to grow. And in regards to the bandwidth, we really can't grow anymore. That's kind of where we're at. So this is where the investment goes into what we do with state funding. So when I first took over OETA back in 2012, it was November 5th, 2012, I thought the best thing that I could do is to really go out and listen to our stakeholders, the viewers, the members, those who had something to say about what we need to do in order to create a better OETA. So that's really what's driving our new strategic plan. We gathered information from 5 different listening sessions throughout the state. We held one here in Tulsa at the studios and had a great turnout. It was a breakfast meeting at 7:30 in the morning. I love you early risers. And they gave us a lot of feedback about what we could be doing better and how we could connect with our communities better and serve Oklahomans better. Integration and transformation in regards to our new technologies. We're working on making sure that our content is available anytime, anywhere, any place. And that takes a lot to do that, but we're working on that. Educator training program. We're working on Ready to Learn, Teacher Line. There are a number of things that we bring to the table in regards to online media content that, again, can be used in the classrooms. And a number of homeschoolers, home educators are using this content as well. Native American series. We just started working with the different tribes to try and develop a series called Native Oklahoma. Native Oklahoma, we just did a pilot show, and now it's how do we get to the next step? How do we create sustainability in regards to this model? So we're working on that. Again, really looking at how do we help in regards to the economic efforts that we're trying to fulfill in the state of Oklahoma, whether that's business, education, higher education, career tech, and others. Fulfilling the Dream campaign really came out of these listening sessions to find out more about how we might be able to leverage what we have and really think about going out and looking for major donors to invest in what we provide the people of Oklahoma and how that's going to make a difference. And that's really what we're all about. How we can make Oklahoma a better place to live, how we can make your day better, how we can make your children and your grandchildren's lives even better and make them basically great citizens that have a good education and carry us forward. Legislative coverage, we have increased coverage of the legislature. I don't believe there's any other news agency or commercial broadcast entity that probably covers the legislature more than we do. We probably cover it more when you think about forum programs. We have legislative leaders on, Oklahoma Capitol Connections, and a number of other programs. The news report spends a lot of time down there when they're in session. And then regional content production. We're looking for regional partners to develop more content, and that might be Rogers State University, Cameron, down in Lawton, or Durant, and a number of others. TU, we're looking at working with OSU, TU, and others in Tulsa to do a better job at serving. And this little picture down in the right-hand corner, that's my granddaughter. And I tell you what, that is one of the best motivational pieces that I have, that I get up every morning and I go to work because of her. I think about her when I do what I do so that I can make sure that she lives in a better world. And that's a constant battle every day, which you all know. You all know that that's something that we all have to work together to make sure that we can have a better future for them. So with that, I'd be happy to open it up for questions or comments. And yes, sir. Any content that we generate sold outside of the state and provides revenue for us, very little. Let me say the Lawrence Welk Show, which is still in distribution, and that is one of the programs that we help produce and then distribute to a national audience. As you can imagine, that audience is slowly dwindling. But hey, we still have 98-year-old ladies that call in and become members, so, you know. No, but seriously, that's still, it's a very well-received program, good, clean entertainment. You can't find it anywhere else. So, but we don't receive a lot of money for the distribution of that. If you think about the cost, the distribution is nothing, but to pay all the union folks and the fees and copyright and the different estates that own the rights to, you know, some of the programs, it's a challenge. So we don't receive a lot for that. Yeah. Yes. Good question. Overall budget from state and in regards to other funding. A real quick breakdown. The state provides about 33% of our budget, almost $4 million. We have about a $12 million operating budget when you lump in our foundation. And they provide about $4 million. Then you have viewers like you. Thank you, by the way, all of you who contribute. Viewers like you $2 million, just over $2 million a year generated by viewers that really goes right to PBS and paying for our dues and our content, PBS content. Then we receive about $1.5 million from the foundation's endowment. We receive another about $1.5 million from federal dollars, and then some monies from underwriting and some major gifts. So that's really kind of the breakdown of our budget. Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, if you haven't watched Doc Martin, yeah, I don't know when they're going to get married, but I think it might be in this next season. Now we'll see. Now some don't want them to get married, so but I think they should. I agree with you. Any other comments, questions? Yes. Oh, the Dream Campaign. Well, thank you for asking. Fulfilling the Dream Campaign actually came out of our strategic plan, which basically is to raise $13 million. We just recently, I should share with you, our Oklahoma City transmitter in our tower, we've been on that tower for decades. And that tower actually belongs to David Griffin, Griffin Communications, Channel 9 in Oklahoma City. That tower is going to be deconstructed. It's been up for 60 years, and we've been on there pretty much free of charge for a number of years. Now we're going to have to move 3 miles up the road and put up a new antenna, a new transmission line, and a new transmitter at the cost of about $1.2 million. And we have to do that in the next 6 months. We've been working on this for the last 6 months, so we'll be on the air with a new system 3 miles up the road. What that did, it added an additional $100,000 a year operating budget. That aside, the $12 million really funds content. It funds the arts and culture. It funds education. It funds books in children's hands. It funds news and public affairs coverage. It also has in it a satellite uplink truck to where we can take anywhere in the state, make anywhere in the state our studio, and provide town hall meetings and engage different communities throughout the state. It makes it a lot sense, or more of sense to us to be able to do that. So those are some of the components in the Dream Campaign. If you'd like more information, I'll be happy to get it to you. Thank you. Yes. We had another question? Yes. Sorry. Odyssey. Thank you. Yes. OKLA is the Okla channel. We call it the Okla channel. The Okla channel is the secondary channel. If you have Cox cable, you'll have all 4 channels. It's on the lower tier. They're the standard definition channels. I can't remember what they're on, if it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, or if it's 1, 12, 13, 14, 15. But anyway, you can find them at the lower tier. If you're over the air, you just pick it up over the air. But it's the secondary channel. So we have the primary PBS, which is usually on all the satellite feeds, and it's also on some of the cable systems. They just carry the 1 channel. That's all they have to. But Cox actually has picked up all 4, and they actually run it. So you bet. And we just reformatted Odyssey. So if you do receive Odyssey, we're working on making some additional changes, paper stock better, and doubling the size of the document itself. So you have more information, and you'll have the access to the schedule for the other 2 channels. So all 4 channels and its schedule will be in there. Yes? Okay. How do you get Odyssey? How do you get Odyssey? Well, the only way you can get Odyssey is become a member. Yes, call 1-800-288-34. I'm not going to get fined for that, am I? Okay, yeah, just become a member at any level. Usually we ask to be at least a $40, an annual $40 a year for the entire year. That's a lot of content for $40. So, any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
And I wanted to give a shout out to our Tulsa's own Liz Exon at OETA. For several years, Liz helped us with the videos for Above and Beyond, and she is one of the single most honored television journalists in the state of Oklahoma. So I'm really proud of Liz here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, USA, and at our OETA division here. A book recognizing today's program will be given to our partner in education, Celia Clinton, and it's called O is for Oklahoma. And O could be so, oh my, where is the book? We do need to have him sign it. So Donna or Jane or somebody, anyway, looking for the book. Okay, upcoming programs. May 21st, Neil McCaleb. He'll be talking about water resources and in Oklahoma and in this time of drought. I think this would be a program we all need to hear. May 28th, Drew Diamond will be talking about the Sherwin Miller Museum of Art. And we still need a few homes from Rotarians to step up and offer to take in some foreign exchange students. Trisha's getting anxious over there, so if you could help out with that, it's a blast, and it's not very many weeks. So now, the Mystery Rotarian, what you've all been waiting for. Our Mystery Rotarian was conducting luncheon meetings at the age of 2 and had her first car at the age of 2. Got to co-pilot on her first flight, and was already burying bodies by age 7. Today, she is quite the explorer. She is known to take all forms of transportation. And while she loves skiing, she also taught the developmentally disabled skiing for a year in Colorado. On that Rocky Mountain High, a little-known trivia, she raced go-karts with John Denver. It is also fitting that she has been in the travel business for some 40 years and has traveled to 135 countries. And I'm sure, as you've already figured out, our Mystery Rotarian is Marty Alexander. And, yay, Marty. By the time she was 20, she had been to every state in the Union. Marty is a natural for Rotary. She was introduced to Rotary by her father, Carl Wright, a 90-year member of the Rotary Club of Tulsa. So, thank you, Marty, for offering those up. And with that, I will close this Rotary meeting. We will see you next week. Luann?
Please take all your